Hey, this is Tim Cummins, and welcome back to another Story Tim, where I tell my favorite stories from the 50 years here on planet Earth. And this story I call Baba Cooch because it's one of my adventures I had when I was in Madagascar. I lived in this, I think it's the second largest island. I think it's maybe the fifth largest island, I think, because obviously Australia and Greenland. There's a couple other ones, but I think Madagascar is definitely in the top five of the largest islands on the planet. And interesting thing about Madagascar is it's got about 90% of the animals there on Madagascar are only found in Madagascar. I don't know if you've been to the zoo and seen lemurs or stuff, but what they call a proto-simian. So they're like, they consider them before the apes or monkeys was lemurs. And you'd have the ringtail lemurs where they were, the ones that obviously had the black and white tails and stuff. And we would go out to the crocodile park where they, and outside of Antananarivo, which we lived, where it was the capital of Madagascar, they would actually raise Nile crocodiles for crocodile meat. And you think about it, now what part of the crocodile do you think they eat? Anyway, yes, you probably guessed it. It is the tail. And there were many times where we would go over there and we would see the crocodiles, and we would get have fish and chips, like the Brits would say. We said this would be croc and chips, where you'd actually, they'd have filleted strips from the tail, fried up with some French fries, what the Brits would call chips and stuff. So that was always good. But the funnest part about the whole croc farm was these ringtail lemurs, where they would actually jump down on your shoulder, and you would have like bananas, and they would eat the bananas and stuff. They were super cool. Of course, lemurs go from the pygmy lemur, which is about the size of a mouse, to the giant lemur, which the Malagasy people called Babacoot. And we went out there to the Ansira Bay, which was a preserve, an animal preserve. I guess that was kind of the south of Tana, and these jungles where we would go and see this. Now, you would think, well, why how are they still there? Most of the animals are wiped out, not because people are hunting them necessarily, but because of just deforestation. When you fly over Madagascar, when you're getting towards an island, it looks like the island is actually bleeding, because there's so much deforestation that when the rains come, which it does every year, usually a couple times a year, they'll have rainy season. There will be so much deforestation that the lakes, the runoff, which is like a red colored mud, would just go into the rivers, and then these rivers empty out to the sea. And the Indian Ocean is generally a lovely blue color, except where these rivers come down, then it's just like this red mud going out there. Like I said, it looks like it's bleeding. But anyway, we were at into this preserve, a natural preserve, where they had Babacoot, and Babacoot actually did not have a tail. Now, they would make weird noises, kind of like whoop, 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 whoop. And you would hear them calling in the night, man. It was really spooky. Now, the Malagasy, they considered these animals fadi, which means like forbidden, or like kind of sacred. Like if you mess with them or stuff, you would like be cursed. And it was because these animals, a lot of times they would walk on 2 feet, and they saw them as like nature spirits, or like ancestors might inhabit these bodies, and so they wouldn't mess with them, which was good for the animal preserves, obviously. So I remember we got up early in the morning, and we went out there with some of the game guides to go out there and go and we went deep into these jungles, to go and look for these babacoots. You would see them; they'd be way uptight. Babacoot, again, was the Malagasy name for them. They were called giant lemurs. But, and you'd see them up there in the top of the trees, man, they'd be kind of jumping around and stuff, and they make that whoop, kind of a weird sound, It made the hair on the back of your neck crawl up, man. And some of them would have babies, and one of the babies would be on their back, kind of holding on for dear life. And And it was just an extraordinary experience to see those animals in the wild like that, because I'm not aware of any of them being in captivity. I never saw anything like that. And I can remember the other thing that was really cool about that place is they would have chameleons, and like chameleons in East Africa, they were normally, even the really big ones like the Jameson's chameleons, maybe a foot long, the body, and then or maybe 10 inches long, something like that. And then they have another tail that would curl out there, and you would get these giant chameleons that would be almost like 18 inches to pushing 2 foot, the body, and they would be just like this fluorescent blues and greens and pink colors of these chameleons. So you would see these chameleons out there in the forest, and when you're looking for the giant lemurs, it was an extraordinary experience. I don't, recently here, this is 2009 when I'm recording these. Madagascar's having some really serious problems politically. They've had a lot of fighting and stuff like there. So you never really know how long all these animals are going to survive. It's sort of like in East Africa, it's nothing like it was when I was a kid there back in the 60s and 70s. What it's like now. Most of the stuff's been killed off now. So if you get a chance to visit Madagascar, do it, man, because it's an extraordinary place. And that was another story, Tim.